Welcome to the continued podcast adventures of Superhero Speak.
But I think many of the people that love this character and that love superheroes in general have used these stories as inspiration to say, you know what? I'm going to do something good in the world. I'm going to make a difference like my hero when I was a kid.
That is my fondest memory of it, because when you're doing comic books, you want them to affect people, right? You want people to care. You want to strike emotions, and I knew that Clone Saga was striking a lot of emotions.
Can you imagine Pulp Fiction starring Goofy and Mickey Mouse?
I can totally imagine that.
I'm sure somebody's written that one too.
Quarter pounder with cheese in France, Mickey? What? Boy, ale with cheese, Mickey. Yeah. I can totally.
See?
I would watch the hell out of that movie.
Yes, I gladly sacrifice that my progeny to you, almighty Marvel beast.
But Neil Adams is somewhere going, it's my time.
How do you measure success? Hey everyone, and welcome to the one, the only Superhero Speak. I'm your host, Dave.
And John.
JD.
Guys, John, you seem so chipper this week.
Whatever.
Are you upset because we made you watch a movie?
I'm upset for a lot of reasons, but that's one of them.
So other than having to watch a movie, how are you doing? Come on. Find the bright side somewhere.
I would. It's raining outside, damn it.
It is. Hey, but wait. Okay, hold on. I know how you're a big sports fan. The Phillies just clinched the World Series.
How many touchdowns did they do at the end?
They're gonna be in the World Series.
Was the score like 40 love or something or whatever?
So yes, they beat San Diego.
Did they scrimmage properly
in the National League Championship, and they will be in the World Series. What, JD?
Y'all break my heart listening to this talk.
Look, the only good thing about it, good thing about it is from my point of view, is that there were pictures in the Philly Inquirer of them greasing the flag, the light poles.
Oh my God.
Before they won. So if there's going to be some hilarious, outtakes of kids just trying to climb those poles and falling flat on their asses. That's the only thing I'm going to be enjoying.
One of my friends from high school that I still talk to works for the city, and he just posted a bunch of pictures from around. There's just all these people gathered by City Hall. Like, I don't know. We don't do that when, the good guys win in Star Trek. We don't all gather outside to celebrate. Should we?
Y'all are dorks, man.
We wouldn't do that to save our own democracy, but we'll do it if our team wins.
Well, it depends on what team you're on in that case.
That's true. Oh yeah, true.
All right.
But I said to save.
Well,
yeah, it's true.
Let's not start. No. Come on now. How about you, JD? How are you?
Andy just barfed all over the floor, like literally minutes before the show starts. I was telling you guys before the show, he's got a little viral infection and a cough. COVID free. We did test him a couple times, took a flu test. He's got my wife's immune system, so he's going to be prone to bronchitis a lot. And he decided to run around and play with the dog, and then he got himself into a coughing fit and just barfed apple all over the place.
So Pazuzu as well, and living on.
Yes, the power of Christ compels him to barf.
Well, no, but they do compel you to clean it up.
But my wife took the bullet on this one, so she gets foot rubs tonight for
hell yeah,
mopping up the vomits. She didn't know what she was getting into at the time, but here we are. Funny enough, we were talking about my mother was insane, so she was. Someday I'll tell you the guy's story about how my family killed Stevie Ray Vaughan. It's not the time or the place, but maybe next week for a Halloween episode, I'll tell you this.
Wait. What?
All right, let's do this. It's October 1990. Yeah, it's August of 1990. My family gets together for just family get together, right? I'm 10, and my family's nuts. My mom's side of the family, they're absolutely certifiable, whole clan. They like to play the Ouija.
Oh,
right?
Good grief! Okay,
they like to play the Ouija. So they bust out the Ouija right after playing Trivial Pursuit, and my one aunt is, and I vividly remember all this. My aunt's like, I hear helicopters. And my dad looks at me and he goes, well, we're staying here tonight. So, because my dad knew the insanity that was coming because he married into a Looney Tune. So they bust out the Ouija board, and the Ouija board keeps circling around D and G. And I'm like, what? I'm 10. I'm like, what is going on? And my dad's like, we will talk about this later. I need you just to go downstairs and watch some TV. So of course I did the exact opposite and watched this madness ensue. So they're going around this D&G, and like my one aunt's claiming to hear helicopters, and then out of nowhere, my aunt starts flopping around on the floor like a fish out of water. This is a woman in her 50s, literally doing this up and down, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what is happening here? And my dad's like, yep, spending the night here. Just gonna, my dad just like buckling down. We're gonna be all right. Just gonna ride this whole thing through. And then that was pretty much the next morning. Stevie Ray Vaughan died in a helicopter crash not 5 miles from my aunt's house. And my cousin looked up some map coordinates thing, and it was like at a D and G. I don't know how this quite worked out, but this is like the family lore. It crashed at like a D and G position on the map. So I don't believe in this shit, but I can't deny what my eyes saw on that particular evening. It was weird. It was freaky. 50-some-year-old woman shouldn't have done the things that I saw her do athletically, but it was freaky. So I was telling my son, I'm like, yeah, your grandmother used to believe in all that silliness.
Well,
and then he barfed. And then I said, then I was thinking about, and then he barfed on the floor like in The Exorcist. So here you go, you know.
It could have been better. The Roomba could have ran over the Ouija board and summoned Pazuzu himself.
Andy is your pride and joy.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my sweet little thing.
Steve Ray Vaughan.
Took me a second.
So your family killed Steve Ray Vaughan. You
inadvertently? I think so. I think that some mystical chicanery perhaps went down. Hello, dear. It wasn't just the floor. Where else did it go?
In the sink, down the front and side of the cabinet, and all over the toilet. Like the lid, behind the lid, under the lid. Like it was everywhere.
That takes talent.
Foot rubs.
That's going to be a lot more than a fruit rub.
Someone gets a foot rub. Someone might get the bed to herself tonight as a reward for doing that. Yes. That's my boy.
He's your pride
an overachiever, I see.
Yes. He had a first parent teacher conferences. He's doing very well in school. I'm very proud of him.
Well, there you go.
How are you, Dave? Did you kill anybody recently with magical powers?
Not for want of trying, I'm sure.
All right. First off, I believe in a lot of that stuff. I don't think they killed him, but they predicted it. But anyway, or saw something.
I don't believe in any of this garbage, but I cannot deny what I saw. I'll bring Matt on the show and he will verify this story 100%.
I believe you. But other than that, let's see. Well, for those listening, make sure that you check out the bonus episode that went out on this past weekend. It was interviews from New York Comic Con for Batman and Superman. Battle of the Super Sons. Wow, my brain went for a second. And a lot of great
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
A lot of great interviews. And it's funny because
it's been 30 years. We can make a
like. So, John, you've been in press rooms before. You know how it goes. We sit at the table. We ask questions round robin style.
Yep.
It was so weird. I realized listening back, like I asked. It was me and like two other people were asking all the questions at this table. Like one guy chimed in once in a while. And two other people were sitting there and they just like didn't ask any questions. And I'm like, okay.
Sometimes it's like that, I mean, like the next time I go to one of those, I'm going to have questions ready because sometimes it gets really quiet or the questions they're asking are just, the normal asinine fan questions that they've heard a million times. And, we want to get something more out of it. So.
Well, I will say this, the next bonus episode that's going to come out is for Mortal Kombat Snowblind press room. And when we sat down, one of the press guys there, right away, he was like, let's start at this end and then ask questions, go in a circle. And wherever it ends with the next person will pick up when the next interviewee comes in. And I'm like, that's brilliant, And if you didn't have a question, they just skipped you and you went to the next person. So there was none of that awkward, like waiting for somebody to jump in and ask a question stuff.
You see the Chris Farley show on Saturday Night Live? Like he had this skit called the Chris Farley Show.
Oh wait, so you were thinking about fan questions when he had Paul McCartney on? And
yeah. That was actually like a pseudo talk show. Do you remember that time that you and John Lennon made those songs with the Beatles? That was awesome. That's how I feel a lot of those things are.
The questions are not.
They can be. They definitely can be. But yeah, so that's one thing I did this week was editing that, getting that out so people could have some bonus content in their ears for free. Let's see, celebrated my granddaughter's 2nd birthday today at the Philadelphia Zoo. And it rained in the afternoon, so we weren't there that long, but still had fun.
Cool.
And I guess the other thing is that it's officially it's Monday, but we celebrate it Saturday is 1 year with Karen. So
nice.
So lame, so lame.
I'm lame.
I'm just teasing you.
So yes, but yeah, that was my week. That and dealing with annoying people at work. But
well,
that's normal.
You know, it sucks that for years I never had a normal job, and now I have a normal job, and people suck. Like
they do.
I just want to be left alone. Like I hang out in my classroom when it's lunchtime. I close the door, and I'll put on a podcast, and like I eat lunch in my classroom when it's by myself, and you know I don't like how peoply the school is. Lots of people.
So, okay, not everyone's going to get this. John's going to understand some of what I'm about to say, but basically, when we refresh our lower environments, which means you copy what's in production and you put it in like the test or dev environments, right? For some reason, it's the only place I've ever worked at where like they have everyone check and make sure the refresh worked properly. Like
everyone,
like someone from each group that works on the database checks and makes sure that, like, that's so stupid. Like I've never seen that before, right? Like, long story short, there was an emergency refresh of one of the test environments, and that the thing is too, like, not everyone checks at once. Like, one group checks, and then when they say okay, they have the next group check, blah blah. Saturday morning, I get a text from our product owner on my team, and she's like, they say it's ready for us to check, and I'm like, it's Saturday. Like, this can wait till one. Oh, well, they got to get it done. I'm like,
no.
That is the biggest problem with working from home. If I had a regular job that I went to, I'd be like, I'm at home. What do you want me to do? But yeah.
But that's something that you got to call them out on. We do that.
I'm going to say something to my boss on Monday, but yeah, just so annoying. I hate work.
So annoying.
All over my head, all that.
Heroes are so annoying.
5 days left of the Hawk Hallow Kickstarter campaign. By the time the show drops, be like 2 days left. So you still got plenty of time to jump in. As of recording, we're $150 away from hitting our stretch goal. Everyone's gonna get these sweet ass bookmarks. Hey man, come on in. How you feeling? Hey, come here. Come here, Andy. Tell everybody how you're feeling.
Hello.
You feeling better?
Yeah.
Who's on your PJs tonight?
Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles?
Nice one.
Can I get a hug before you go to bed? I love you.
Love you too.
Raphael all the way.
You're a Michelangelo guy. Oh no, you're Leonardo. You're like Leonardo.
Raphael.
I was Leonardo.
Michelangelo.
Michelangelo's the best. Mikey.
Yeah, he likes Leonardo and Michelangelo. All right.
And Donatello.
All right, Donatello. All right. Love you, buddy.
Awesome.
No, he's fine. Astro. Come on, I got it. Okay, story time. Good night.
It's nice. You got you're doing good on the pledge, huh?
Yeah, it's doing good. We're doing all right. We're 185% back. I think we're gonna have a good final week. I'm really gonna kick it into overdrive. I pulled back a little bit on promoting over the weekend because of stuff with the family and him being sick. But so the next few days are gonna be really ramping up. I think we're gonna close out pretty good, and I'm happy with it. And it's been tough talking to a lot of people who are doing Kickstarters right now. Everyone is kind of down. The economy's a little down. People kind of bracing for potential recession.
Yeah.
So everything's kind of trending a little bit lower for a lot of people. But that's okay. I'm gonna hold off on Q1 next year and come back in Q2 of 2023. I'll have a big project then. Some cool plans. But I'm really happy with this going.
Companies are actually, like I work for a very large company.
Evil empire.
Inc. Yeah, basically. And the rabid gorilla, 800-pound gorilla. But companies are like
rabid 800-pound peacock. Continue.
It's really stupid. They're preparing for an economic downturn, which is helping to cause the economic
downturn. Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking it into existence.
Right. Or just really causing it by not hiring people to cover old positions that are vacant now. And it's ridiculous.
I'm really happy right now that I'm working a union job that gives me a lot of free time and lets me do a lot of things. So life change came around at the right time for me. So that's good.
Sometimes we're lucky for that. Yeah.
Yes. Buy my books. So yeah.
I did.
I know. I appreciate it. Thank you. I've
got like 8 copies of every book of yours by now.
Well, I don't give you the multiple copies. I know you don't want multiple copies of these books. I just give you what you ask for.
No, I'll just take the copies and I'll just take the physical copies and bring them to the library.
That's a great idea. We'll do that.
It is.
But I got a great death for you. This is gonna be the crowning jewel of our murder series. Feel Gradyverse. That's what I'm gonna start calling this.
Oh my God. No.
All according to plan.
Yes. How many times can you kill one man in the books? 4 is where we're at so far. Let's see what we can do.
When will be the final time? You decide. No, I decide. My pocketbook decides.
No, you decide. Unfortunately, you decide. So far, so good. So yeah, it's been like this.
I am unkillable.
So please don't try to kill me. Sorry.
Speaking of things that are unkillable, we should do a little social media madness.
Christmas.
It's enough to make me want to drink.
Crap baskets.
So let's start off. Our good friend Kassan Warren said, I never read the Sandman comics, and I find myself a fan of the Netflix series. It's a slow burn and many episodes dedicated to setting up the foundation of the series. But once momentum starts, it doesn't stop. Morpheus, as an endless, is initially distant. He cares little for the problems of humans, only that reality remains intact so that his realm thrives. Deeper into the series, we are treated to his emotional arc. We see that he has loved mortals, has been hurt by them, and has suffered. As the Lord of Dreams, he fled back into his realm and lived a dreamlike life. But circumstances force him back into the mortal realm, and he must address the mortal feelings he had long suppressed, which is kind of what you were saying last week, JD. That's the arc of the character.
Yeah.
Is they didn't know what he was at first, and then he goes on this big emotional arc. All right, so I got a confession. I watched the next episode, which wasn't the death episode.
Oh, damn it.
It was the diner episode.
Oh, that was a good one, though.
No, that was just like, oh, I think I'm out. I can't do this. That is such a sad and depressing episode. It was just like, the idea is that like we all just suck.
Well,
how is that a new idea right now?
To be fair,
in this time and age, right?
I know. Well, I don't want to. How many times do I got to say? I don't want to watch something that says, "Yeah, humanity just sucks, so deal with it." Like, no, no. Uplift me. That's why I like superheroes. Come on.
To be fair, then it might not be for you.
Yeah, I'm starting to think
that diner episode was a real downer. It gets better though. What is the next episode after that?
The next episode is the death episode.
Okay.
Because I watched the first 5 minutes of it, maybe not even 5 minutes, where he's in the park and Death comes up and they're talking.
Right. So that's the palate cleanser, man. That's the palate cleanser you need to get over that episode. Because that you're right. The diner episode was, it was brutal. It was kind of very, very brutal. But then the death episode pretty much brings you up, way up from that. And then did you see the Immortal episode yet?
Immortal episode.
No, you haven't seen it. If you don't know what that is,
okay.
Like there's a couple really, really nice, good episodes after this.
Well, there would have to be because that was episode 5, so there's only 3 episodes left, I think. Right?
Okay.
And then there's couple bonus episodes, but I think actual episodes of the series. I think there's 8 altogether, so there's 3 more.
I couldn't get to mute in time. Sorry, I was trying to get to mute and I couldn't find it. Sorry.
So
it was funny. It was really attenuated. It sounded weird. It was cool.
Sorry.
All right. So,
thanks.
All right. I will watch the death episode. I will give it one more chance, and I'll let you guys know next week. Moving on, we talked about Werewolf by Night, of course.
Sorry.
That's a Werewolf by London, which Drew C said, I loved it. Can't wait for more Marvel special presentations. I hope we get a Halloween special every year.
Like The Simpsons? That'd be cool.
Oh my God. That would be cool.
My favorite scene, make the walls bleed again. No. But it was fun. No.
I don't want to. It's a great episode. Those are always the best. The Treehouse of Horrors.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess we don't need to reharp that. We talked about it plenty last week.
I'm sorry. It's still, even after a week, and I watched it again, I still love that. I still think that's one of the best things that Marvel's put out. Sorry.
Fine.
All right. I have an announcement to make related to social media. We're
getting rid of it? No, sorry.
Yay.
And the 8 Sir Robin's Minstrels.
We officially have a comic book reviewer for the website again.
All right.
Chris Lars. Wait, I'm going to make sure I say his name right. Lorenzen.
Oh,
Lorenzen.
at least hire somebody whose name you can say.
Well,
All right, Chris, your name is now Smith.
Yeah, it's true. I hear where you're going with that, JD, and I was right there with you.
Joan. It was
Smith.
totally in a past life when those guys working at Ellis Island, they come to give you the name. Smith. Boom. Move on.
Do you know why Smith is the most common last name?
I assume Smith's built things, right? People build things.
Yes, but do you know why that's the most common last name?
I don't.
Because when armies would invade countries, first off, they would keep the Smiths behind because they would build the weapons and armors, and it was the other men that would go out and fight. And then when an invading army took over, they wouldn't kill the Smiths because they would use them to build things for them. So they survived for centuries.
And there were a lot of cultures where your last name was your job.
Right,
Yeah, for
exactly.
sure.
That's where it comes from.
So when we were in Russia, I was in Russia about 11 years ago for a shoot, and I was with some wrestling guys. And this guy coached from Michigan, I said, "Do you know why we're in Moscow? Do you know why there's so many hot women and ugly men walking around this city?" And I said, "No, good sir, I have noticed it though, being on the trains. It has taken." He goes, "All right, so the Crimean War," he mentioned like a third of Russia's male population was wiped out. So he goes, now all the survivors basically had their pick. So consequently, what got passed on was the hideous dude genes and the gorgeous women genes. I have no idea if there's any reality to this or not, but having spent a couple weeks in Russia, it made sense to me.
I don't know. I've known a couple men from Russia, and I wouldn't necessarily call them ugly. So
I saw many a troll in Moscow, and many a unbelievably gorgeous woman.
But maybe that's why they moved to. Maybe that's why they moved to the United States, because the pretty women in Russia wouldn't date them because they were so used to the ugly men. Anyway, back to Chris. He wrote his first review is up on the website. It's for Crashing #1.
It's a good review too.
Huh?
It's a good review too.
Yes, exactly. So, written, and of course, Matthew Klein, the writer of it, retweeted and said he is so thrilled for the great review of Crashing #1, and also reminded him you haven't gone and picked up the first and second issue now on sale at comic shops everywhere. But yes, so thanks, Chris. We look forward to many great reviews from you. I just sent him a bunch of stuff to look at, so I'm sure many things are coming. So, guys, we watched this movie. We talked about the rumor that Henry Cavill was coming back as Superman.
We should save this for the actual movie.
Yeah, why don't we save it?
Well, because both of these opinions, I think we can bring them back up once we get to the movie.
Well, yeah, but it's kind of a spoiler for the movie. And just by saying it's a spoiler, I think I've spoiled it. So
spoiled.
All right, fine. We'll save it. And then finally, he's your friend.
Yeah, I like Drew.
JD. So here, you read Drew's rant that he sent.
I saw he had a big rant, but I've only what we opened up here, I've only got the one post.
You can't click on show more replies.
Oh, Drew has a lot to say. Okay, I didn't see. I just saw Henry Cavill is back.
Holy moly.
Yeah, Drew went off on a tangent here, and he messaged me again after I got out of Black Adam. And was not thrilled with where this is going. I love you, Drew, but you are not a happy camper when it comes to any of this. All right, I'll read Drew's thoughts. What are Black Adam and Dr. Fate's mom's names?
Martha.
Barbara and Lula May. Actually, I feel like it's going to be an important note for the Black Adam movie. Post 1. Post 2. With the MCU, I think there's an opportunity to gain audience. The MCU is nicely laid out on Disney Plus so that people who don't want to dedicate time or money to seeing it before have easy access to things thanks to streaming. The whole thing is in one place. So you don't have to rent or search sites. That is true.
Yeah, very true.
But they will have to reset the MCU at some point. He's right about that.
In about 30 or 40 years.
I don't know about that. When I was in high school, I'd go to the comic shop every Wednesday and hang out. No one at school knew I did it. After college, the most popular guy from high school posted on social media about how awesome Venom is. And I was like, wait, I could have embraced comics in high school? This is true. After Werewolf by Night, you guys want to see more special presentations? I love an anthology Halloween movie from Marvel. Oh, that's actually a really good idea.
Yeah,
I would like that, actually. That's actually an excellent idea.
Just a small continuing story every Halloween.
It's funny Drew mentioned about high school. Like I said, I teach graphics at the high school, and we did these theme collages, and I saw so many superhero ones. So many. From all, like, because I got all kinds of kids in my class, nerds and jocks and, popular kids and, just all over the place. And everybody loves superheroes. Like, everybody kind of liked superheroes back in the day, but nobody really talked about it. Now it's just like, it's way more open. So the Marvel stuff has made being a geek a little bit more socially acceptable than it was, to the point where I need to buy some comic book stuff from a classroom. I decided just to go ahead and fully embrace what I am too.
True.
So, yeah. So I love you, Drew. You're all over the place on this one. But
it seems like he was listening and replying as he was listening.
That's actually a good point. I feel like these are live reactions to our show,
Yes.
which I appreciate.
Mm.
All right.
He is not happy of any return to any sort of variation upon the Snyderverse. Drew is not a happy camper about this.
No.
I have thoughts, but we'll continue this later.
We will. I think we're going to get into that a lot in a little bit. So that is all the social media madness at this point, because we'll have to bring up those other 2 points once we get to the movie.
Great.
So if you would like to know how you can follow us on social media and be part of social media madness, and here's some other great podcasts, here's our good friend D Square to tell you more.
Enjoying the show? Want to be part of social media madness? Make sure you are following superheroespeak.com, where you can find all of the show's social media links at the top of the page. While you're there, you can check out old episodes of the podcast as well as some other great content. Check the site often, because we are posting some great comic reviews as well as comic book and movie news content every day. Make sure and follow us on Twitter at SuperheroSpeak. And while you're there, check out the rest of the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network. You can follow them at stars_geek. The Geek World All-Star Podcast Network include great programs such as the Pop Prison Power Podcast, Cult 45, So Wizard, Fans on Patrol, the Gorilla Brain Podcast, and of course, Superhero Speak. Search for hashtag GWAllStars. You will not be disappointed. Now it's back to Dave and the boys on Superhero Speak.
All right. Thanks for that, Don. And does anyone know, is he still doing Mega Level Nerds?
I talked to Don. I messaged him after the show last week. He seems like he's doing good, but I think he's in hiatus for a little bit. I think he's got some stuff going on. Not 100% sure what, but I mean, so I don't think so.
All right. So if you haven't yet, go to YouTube, look up the Omega Level Nerds podcast, check him out, check out his past episodes, give him a like, tell him we sent you, and that we're thinking of him.
Good dude.
So on that note, we will take our first commercial break, and we'll be right back with the news.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
All right, we are back. Don't have a lot of news this week because I know that it's a slow news week, and we're going to get pretty in depth.
With the Shallow movie.
With the Shallow movie. All right. So on the heels of Black Adam being released, Walter Hamada officially departs as the head of DC Films. Apparently he did it quietly too. Like there wasn't like a big announcement or anything from DC when he first did it. So yeah, there's no one in charge anymore. It's pandemonium over at DC Films.
So nothing's different.
Yeah, fair. But yet they made all those announcements last week that
exactly
stuff is coming. So somebody's in charge. We don't know who.
I have a feeling there's one person pulling strings over there.
Well, there is one person. I don't know who that person is. Do you?
I think you just saw a movie where he was wearing all black.
You think it's The Rock? You think it's Dwayne?
Well, he's calling some shots.
Didn't he write and direct Black Adam?
No, he didn't write and direct it.
Not direct it, but didn't he write and produce it? That's what I meant.
He didn't write it. He produced. The Rock knows his limitations.
Yeah.
But The Rock got stuff done. I'll say that.
Exactly. He got a lot of stuff done, and I'm kind of curious.
No, he's flirting with going back to taking like spots in WWE too. He's like running the new XFL. Like he's got a lot on his plate. Rock just likes to be involved in lots of things.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll talk about it. Well, who do you think? Like, because we've said this and we keep saying this. Like, they need a Kevin Feige.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially right now. I think with what happens in Black Adam, they need a Kevin Feige, or this is all going to fall apart terribly.
Still may, but
still is.
Wait, hold on that. It's someone I don't know who's pulling strings. Like Toby Emmerich and Jeff Johns are still credited as executive producers. Maybe Toby Emmerich's in charge of it now. I don't know. Like, there's got to be some studio executive calling the shots. I mean, usually you put, because I think this was a Friday news dump. That's usually when you put out all the bad news. It's like Friday afternoon. They go, oh yeah, 16 people died. So, we'll release that at 4:30 on a Friday afternoon. And, hopefully you all forget about that. And that was kind of how this was treated. And it sounds like Walter Hamada had been kind of out for like on the outs for a while now. Like I know he wasn't popular. He got a lot of the blame with some of the shenanigans that went down earlier this year. And we talk about how much trouble, Warner Brother Discovery has been in. And this is a case too of like the new guy comes in, he wasn't hired by the new crew. So
that's a big thing in corporate America. If you're I've actually had jobs that I've lost because a new vice president came in and decided to clean house and make room for his own boys.
We've all we've all been there. Like that's just how these things go. So you can't be surprised when something like this happens. It does seem like the Discovery side of things does value DC, because there was talk originally like, oh, maybe they're gonna license everything to Marvel for publishing and not make these movies. It was like I never bought into that. And it doesn't seem like that's the plan, because there's a lot of money to be made. And I don't think the numbers have come out yet for this week for Black Adam, have they? Dave, are numbers out? Preliminary numbers out? I haven't seen them.
They're in the email.
I didn't see that part of the email.
Oh, well, if you scroll down, you would see.
I chart the email as we're going through the show.
Worldwide, 140 million is as of recording.
Pretty good, considering they're going to get some business.
It's not bad. It's not great. So yeah, we'll talk about that too. It's not obviously Marvel numbers, but
yeah, they're not Marvel.
Right.
You can't compare them. I don't think. I really don't think you can anymore.
Right, and that's also not counting Sunday. But
yeah, it's a Saturday night, so for 2 days, it's not terrible.
So yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I just, you're right. I do think Discovery is caring more about not just DC, but like what the fans want.
Well, they got to figure out. They got to make money. Right. And it seems like there's been so much interfighting between fans and the company over here that you have to find something of a battleground. Like I think that the throwing out the baby with the bathwater approach is not working. And I think, and I'll get more into this when we talk about the movie, but I think they're going with a hybrid approach to it. Is like a very DC approach, quite frankly.
Yes. Oh, definitely. And that's the thing. Right. And yeah, we'll it's funny. Like it's hard to talk about this without spoiling the movies.
So we'll just leave. We'll put a pin in it.
Yeah, we'll put a pin in it. All right.
Pins don't make that sound. I don't know why I did that.
We'll go across the aisle then. It has been confirmed, guys. We talked about it as a rumor. It's been confirmed. Harrison Ford is our new Thunderbolt Ross.
Thunderbolt Solo.
Less a Thunderbolt than more than like a.
And I've already seen a bunch of articles come out and say he's not going to be the character for long. Like,
I'm probably going to kill him.
Yeah, because he's 80 years old and he just wants to die in everything he's in anyway.
I'm like, why? Why do I could get it if they were struggling and they needed big names to pull people in to go see movies, but like why? And again, if you're going to cast old, then just bring back Sam Elliott. Why on earth would you totally recast with Harrison Ford? It makes no sense.
Let me throw this in.
Okay.
He's Harrison Ford.
I get that, but he's Harrison Ford. Like, his cachet is not what it used to be, especially after Crystal Skull.
Oh, that was 15 years ago.
And even after the Star Wars movies.
Oh, he's fine with that. He's still Harrison Ford. He's a Hollywood legend. Like, it's not going to be on him to pull in the box office for this.
It isn't.
Right? So why not? Who cares? I think Feige has something in mind for Thunderbolt Ross, and it's probably the Red Hulk. So why not finish it?
And then kill him off at the end.
Yeah. If someone's got a take on something, why not?
I mean, people are going to be. People aren't going to like that they killed Red Hulk off really quickly, I guess, right?
Well,
that's the thing I'm saying too. Is like, I mean, obviously they're going somewhere with the Hulk too, right? Like, especially after bringing Scar in. But again, like, he's not good. I don't think he's going to be. It's not on him at this point. It's going to be in Captain America: New World Order. By the way, is where he's playing Thunderbolt Ross. Like
New World Order.
So. Again, you don't need him to draw people in. People are going to go see Captain America. Like, there isn't a need for it.
But this is also the same.
But hold on, you said, oh well, someone has a take. But here's the thing: like, it's not like I can see when an actor comes in and who's enthusiastic and it's like, I think the character should do this and this and this. I don't see Harrison Ford at 80 years old being like, oh, I really want to play in a Marvel movie. Here's what I think Thunderbolt Ross would be like, because I love this character from the comics.
That's not what I meant by a take. I mean, I think the creators have a take.
Yeah, but why not bring someone who might be enthusiastic about playing the role?
Let me regale you with Who was the bad guy of Captain America: Winter Soldier? The most successful actor of the 1970s.
Yeah, I can't think of his name.
Robert Redford.
Robert Redford, that's it.
Do you think Robert Redford went, oh my God, I made a Captain America movie? Or is he like, I'm going to go make some money playing Captain America?
Well, in interviews, he said that his grandkids wanted him to do it.
Yeah, I mean, like, and that's the thing is like, you don't, as a professional, you just need to be professional and do your job, and that's fine. Like Harrison Ford never really loved playing Han Solo either, right? He took ownership of the character because it's his. I mean, he's a pro. Like he's a dude who goes to work. Like I said, what did you feel after you were such a success playing Han Solo? He goes, I went to work.
Which is a shame because
disagree 100%. Like we're fanboys. That's our job, is to fanboy. They're making money. They're doing their job, right? Stan Lee's talked about a lot of the comics he wrote. He was making money, just going to work. Like it's up, like an artist can create something that they don't see, not the value, and they don't see the potential that other people do. And I don't think you need to I don't think all the actors need to be fanboys. All I want them to do is do a good job, right? I think that's more important than being a fan of the character, is to be good. You know, you're just not going to find a lot of 70, 80-year-old men that are going to, get a boner about playing a superhero character.
Well, that's another thing too. Like, again, if you're going to recast it, you could have cast someone a little younger, like in their 60s, who's going to be around for a little while.
Like, again, I disagree. Like, again, unless plan on killing the character. Right, unless the character's one time through.
Well, yeah, if they're killing him, then it doesn't matter. So,
or if he's going to live on as just the Red Hulk, in which case you don't need Harrison Ford, But I think it's like putting Robert Redford in the movie. It's like you want, from Marvel's perspective, they want these stars. It legitimizes their movies, right?
Although they are kind of beyond.
They're not beyond that. And no one is beyond a star, having a star in your movie.
Really?
It's no, absolutely not. Like having Jeff Goldblum play the Games Master, they keep doing this for a good reason. Like they had Ben Kingsley. Like this is what they do, is they want those old world stars too, to bring cachet with them. It legitimizes them, especially when you've got old heads like Martin Scorsese talking about how they're trash, right? You have one part of old Hollywood saying that, and then you have all these critically acclaimed thespians who can come in and do some work for you. It gives you cachet.
Sounds a little bit like 4D chess, but you got a point. I think you have a point.
I mean, you have big movies. You get big stars to come in and play in big movies. It's always been that way in Hollywood, and it's always been like these dudes. They work, man. It's work. It's a job.
True. I don't know. I just don't like. I don't like the pick. I think that's what it is.
It could be. I wasn't married to the William Hurt version of Thunderbolt Ross, and in my opinion, it's Thunderbolt Ross. Who the fuck cares? That's my opinion. Like, it's not like it's that important. Like, they're someone recognizable whose work I've enjoyed since childhood. So, cool bonus.
Well, that's true too. I think everyone who's played Thunderbolt Ross has been a name.
Yeah, Sam Elliott, William Hurt, excuse me, and now Harrison Ford. Like, good stuff. Not a bad actor in the bunch.
True.
I mean, we're far from the days of David Hasselhoff as Nick Fury.
Oof, thank God for that.
Well, maybe I miss those days.
Baby, you're crazy.
Oh, great. Uh-oh.
What happened?
My computer's going crazy. Can you guys hear me still?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'll keep going even though I can't see what I'm doing.
It's not stopped us before.
No, it hasn't. And then the last bit of news we have is we apparently are going to get another Disney Plus special. This one's going to be The Silver Surfer.
Surprised.
Kind of really surprised. Yeah.
Surprised.
I mean, it's funny too, because I've seen all the articles around this. Now there are people going like, oh, I guess they're going to be setting up Silver Surfer so that they can bring in Galactus for the Fantastic Four.
I hope not.
No?
We had that and it didn't work. I have bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, but
I would rather see them
what if they do Galactus right? I mean, what's better?
Possible.
A giant cloud or a giant being in a purple suit?
Giant being in a purple suit. We've seen that in the Marvel universe already, Marvel Cinematic Universe already. They can do it well. My only concern is we saw that movie. I just want to see a different movie,
Yeah.
Well, they could do Doctor Doom right, because the Doctor Dooms that they've brought in so far are so far off the mark that it would be a different movie.
I agree. They've never done Doctor Doom right. And this
or Doctor Doom at all, right? They've never actually done him.
Yeah, it's true.
Per se.
You're right. You're actually 100% right. When Mads Mikkelsen is right there, I know they already used him, but they kind of squandered him as Caliphus, Calispius, Kalikimaka.
Pazuzu.
Say.
Like, yeah, he would be a great Doctor Doom. Like, I just need someone Eastern European. Bring me that accent. I would take Lady Gaga and House of Gucci doing Doctor Doom at this point.
She'd actually do a good job.
I'm not denying it. That's why I said I would take her.
Yeah.
She's quite talented.
I mean, the Silver Surfer had a fairly long running book.
No, he's had multiple books.
Yeah.
He's had a hard time maintaining a consistent story. Like, you'll get like a few years of Silver Surfer and then it gets canceled, and then you get a few years of Silver Surfer and then it gets canceled, and like the process rinses and repeats every few years. So it's not like Spider-Man. And I often wonder if this, because it's hard to pinpoint what is the Silver Surfer. That's a hard one to kind of like lock down. Aside from, like, I hear the one Cosmic Jesus. Okay, what does that mean? You know, what does that mean? It's hard. I almost think the Surfer plays better amongst others than he does on his own. I could be wrong, but it's just my thought.
Well, yeah, but it's like people want to be able to relate to a story, right? At least in some part. It's easy to do it with Spider-Man. He lives on Earth. It's easy to relate. When you're talking Silver Surfer and he's going through all of the celestial stuff and, you know, and out there, it's like, I mean, if you're a sci-fi buff, yeah, but otherwise,
I don't know, man, because Star Wars is super relatable and it works, right? Like, as long as you can give some type of humanistic element to the story, and the story of Norrin Radd, the origin story, is very relatable. You know, the guy sacrificed himself to save his planet.
Right, but Star Wars gives you people that you can put yourself in their place.
It can, but
you can't put yourself in place of someone with the power cosmic.
At the same time, people do make that same argument for Superman. And I fight back against it all the time. I think you could do a variation of the Silver Surfer that could work. I don't know what that is, to be quite frank. So I'm open to it. But that's why I wonder if the Disney Plus is maybe not the place to experiment with it. You know, where you have something shorter form. Perhaps it's more of an anthology take where he's going around like Quantum Leap. Oh, that's a good take, actually.
What?
The Silver Surfer, like Quantum Leap. He goes different places and solves problems. And then goes off on his surfboard. So, Kevin Feige, I'm just sitting here, man.
Did you ever read any of the Silver Surfer books?
Here and there. Never really was my thing. I read the Slott run. I like the Dan Slott run.
Like, a lot of the books, this is in a lot of the books, like, he flies over the planet and he laments over how, like, you know, humans are destroying the planet or whatever,
Broody.
which
Remarkably broody. Yes.
Yes, exactly. And like Stan Lee admitted, like, in the early books that he wrote, like, that was the whole thing, is it was him saying, like, his view on the Earth and how, like, we're polluting it and stuff, you know, and it was him like lamenting that, and it's like, okay, but is that like the whole basis of this character, is for you to complain about the environment? Like, yeah, you're right. I think that's part of the reason it's also a hard sell. Like, you're not doing something to, like John said, draw people in to ground him. You're kind of given an outsider view of the Earth.
At the same time, that's why I think that he might work better as a side character, right? Like, I think some of the more famous Surfer stories are when he's locked into Earth, like when he's with the Defenders and stuff like that, and he's playing off Strange and Namor and Hulk.
Yeah, those are some good stories.
Those are good stories, and like, I think that Dan Slott had an interesting take on Silver Surfers. He basically made him Doctor Who.
Yeah,
right? He had like a companion. Those were actually, with Mike Allred, those were really good books, and it was basically Silver Surfer going to different planets and having like Doctor Who style adventures. I mean, Doctor Who's that kind of character. It is.
Yeah.
He good writer. Sorry, Dave. He. I think it's tricky though. Like God, who was it? Ron Lim was the artist, and Ron Mars was the writer at the time, and they had a pretty good run of this. Probably one of the more successful runs.
It's one of the most popular ones. Yes.
Yeah, with that blend of the Infinity Gauntlet. Those were just like space opera stories. So I mean, like, there's ways you can do him. The problem is it's hard to do it consistently. And I'm of the mind that maybe not every character needs to have a 20, 30 year stretch of like story after story after story. There's a lot of shitty Spider-Man stories.
Yeah.
Like a lot of bad Batman stories too. Like, those characters are big enough to transcend bad stories. I don't know if the Silver Surfer is, to be quite frank.
No, I think you're right too, right? Because it's not, he's not right. He's not Spider-Man, Batman, or Superman. So it's hard to like, he's not enduring enough to transcend bad stories. So when they hit, the book gets derailed, and then
right, because there's people that will buy. Like, I think I forget the name of the website that bases their comic estimates for the month on Batman, because Batman. It is. So like they base the sales estimates based on Batman, because Batman has a solid, loyal readership that's coming in, buying Batman no matter what. Same with Spider-Man.
Right.
There's people that will buy those books no matter what. If they're good, if they're bad, they're completists, and they keep buying them. I don't think the Silver Surfer, same with the X-Men, I don't think the Silver Surfer has that type of fan base.
No, he doesn't, which is why he's probably just getting a short special on
Makes
Disney
sense.
Plus.
Yeah, I'm on board with this. Perhaps that's where they're going to put Sacha Baron Cohen as Mephisto.
Oh, that's right. That was the other piece of casting
It's
news
not
I wanted.
confirmed. It's not confirmed.
It's not confirmed.
It's been. I mean, someone said no, this is a parody site, but I mean, I don't think it is. I've seen this in lots of places. Variety picked it up. Like, it's a rumor. I mean, I'm on board if they have Borat and Ali G playing Mephisto. I'm on board. I think that could be awesome.
He's done other stuff,
He is, but he's hilarious.
Yeah.
That guy and Ricky Bobby.
Oh my God, that's right. He was the French race car
driver. Yeah. He's
oh
great.
my God.
He would be great as because Mephisto is so over the he's such like a I'm the devil, like he's one step out of John Lovitz being the devil. Like I think it could be fun. I really do.
And Sacha Baron Cohen he's a character actor. I mean,
correct.
He will just completely own that thing, and make it completely different.
Much like Tim Curry was to Darkness in Legend. I think that we could get not like that exact same type of thing, but I think he will take it as a character actor and make it his own.
I think so. I think that's probably the best way to go with it too.
Yeah, I'm on board. I'll watch it. I mean,
Deadline had that too. So
a lot of people have, but I have not seen Marvel come out and say yes, Sacha Baron. I mean, like I'm a believer in where there's smoke, there's fire, but they haven't put anything official yet. I wonder if it's because we don't have what he's going to play Mephisto in.
But they're saying he's going to be in the Ironheart series, which is a
weird place to put it. So let's hold off on that. I don't know if I buy that yet.
Also, it was a strange rumor that Harrison Ford was going to play Thunderbolt Ross.
And here we are.
Mm-hmm.
It was a strange rumor that somebody was returning to the DCEU. Oh, wait.
Here we are.
All right. Well, then, you know what? What are we at? Okay, no second commercial break because
I'm 5'9".
Yeah. We don't need a second commercial break. Let's just get right into our main topic.
Let's just do it.
All right. Let me just down this so that I can get through this.
The fancy Dan glass you got there, John.
Yeah, my brother gave them to me. It's a glass for basically sipping bourbon.
Is that a bourbon sifter or something like that? I don't know what
something like it. Supposedly the shape of the glass makes it taste better, and actually it does. I don't know if it's because it sheets over your tongue from the shape of the glass and how it pours, or what.
Or it's a placebo or something like that.
Or it's a placebo. Who knows? But I actually do think it's better than a shot glass because you do get more of the taste.
Sure. Okay.
And some of these are really good.
I will acquiesce that to you, good sir. You know far more about that than I.
All right, are we ready now, guys? DCEU.
I'm trying to avoid talking about this. Can't you?
Bourbon Hero speak.
Yeah. Actually, we probably get a lot more. We get a lot more listeners.
Starring Dwayne. Oh my God! You know what? I'm done. That's it.
Black Adam 2022, starring Dwayne, aka The Rock Johnson, premiered this weekend.
Yes. Opened up domestically to 67 million as of recording, 73 million internationally, so 140 total. Rotten Tomato critics score, tomato meter, is 40%. Audience score 90%. So here's another one of these cases where the audience and the critics are split on it.
That makes me a critic.
And ow! I'm
on the shirts tonight, guys, not the skins.
No, you have to like it. Just like I have to like what you like. All right. So let's try this. Let's real quick go around the room and give a quick non-spoiler reaction to the movie. And John, you can go first.
JD, can you play a recording of your son throwing up?
Oh my God.
I was busy at the time going, oh my God, he's throwing up. It's actually the first time. It's actually the first time he's thrown up. 6.5 years of life. He's not a throw upper.
Wow.
We had a streak going. Like Jerry Seinfeld-esque.
Well, at some point, a kid's going to break that streak.
I mean, we were lucky, man. We were, we were playing with house money, and how the house is filled with them.
The house always wins.
So what you're saying is, John, you're not a fan of this movie.
No. I'm not going to say that there weren't good parts. There were good parts. Almost every good part had to do with The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. Not even close to being able to save this piece of crap.
Okay. JD?
This movie was remarkably corny, out and out laughable sometimes. The script was all over the place.
Thank you.
It's weird, but God, if I didn't love every freaking minute of
Oh
this movie,
God, no!
it was so much fun. I had so much fun watching this movie. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And then I got the post-credit sequence you guys promised me, which I'm really mad we talked about that because I would have loved not knowing that. I thought it was great. It deserves every little bit of criticism that's been thrown its way. I will not argue that. But at the end of the day, I found myself smiling and entertained.
Okay. I think I'm somewhere between the two of you. I feel like
that's a wide field, Dave.
It is. I feel like there could have been a better movie here. Like, I think there were some good ideas, but the execution is like, it suffers from what a lot of DC movies suffer from. I feel, and I've said this before, and I'm going to keep saying it, there's this feeling like it's Black Adam and The Rock. People are just going to see it for that. It doesn't need to be a great movie because, like, who cares about story? As long as we got some cool fights and explosions and we've got superheroes flying around, that's all we need. You know, like, someone needed to come in and just tighten the script up a little bit more, but
I agree.
Or the continuity, or just the whole thing.
And yeah, I mean, but again, it's not a terrible movie. It's just like it felt like it just missed the mark, and I'll get into more detail as we get into it. So,
you know what I really liked about this movie was the tone. Like, I know a lot of people like, oh, the Snyderverse is back. This is not the tone of the Snyder.
No, it's not.
The Snyder movies took themselves super seriously, and I don't know if you've ever watched. I don't know if you ever watched a Rock movie, like any of the other stuff he's done, like
tons of it.
Stuff. Yeah, he never takes himself. He's very Arnold in that way. I think Arnold's best stuff is Arnold didn't take himself too seriously toward later on in his career, and those are some of his best stuff. I think Dwayne has the same kind of thing where he's not taking this too seriously, and his charisma does a pretty good job of transcending the material. And I think that his presence elevates. If anyone else is playing back at him,
true.
It's a really bad movie, but I think Dwayne carries it and keeps it a lot more fun. I don't know, like there's a lot of death, but they play it like a Looney Tunes cartoon. Like, so I laughed at some of it, you know.
My favorite is Rampage, by the way.
Rampage is
just
as all hell.
Yeah, I know but it's a popcorn movie. Like I love to just sit down and watch it every once in a while.
And this was a popcorn movie.
I'm gonna mute both of you. All right. So at this point, if you haven't seen Black Adam and don't want spoilers, you better stop right here and go away. But if you don't care, or if you haven't seen, or if you've seen it, we're going to spoil the movie. So let's.
I mean, you're
go
listening.
forward.
You're here, so you know.
Well, that's true. Here's my first criticism about the movie, right? And I get what you're saying about Dwayne Johnson not taking him seriously. I love the whole "tell him the man in black sent you" joke.
I couldn't quite get it right.
Not until the end. Like, I got like that made me chuckle. But I feel, and I don't know how you guys think, that Aldous Hodge and Pierce Brosnan stole this movie. It felt like it was It felt like a Justice Society of America movie, not a Black Adam movie.
Well, here's why that works: is because the best version of Black Adam was in Jeff Johns' JSA. There was a point when Jeff Johns was literally the best superhero writer in comics, and it's when he was doing JSA and Green Lantern specifically. So you're talking like 03 to 06.
Yeah.
Jeff Johns was the best superhero writer. And this was right out of like the Jeff Johns Black Rain run. Like Jeff Johns is the guy who brought prominence back to Black Adam, and he did it through the pages of the Justice Society book. So that's why I think that's another reason why I think this story works. I think if it's just Black Adam, I don't think it works.
Well, who do you like what's the plot if it's just him, right?
Okay.
Unless what is it? It was it Intergang? It was
Intergang.
Yeah, it was Intergang. So Intergang has got weapons from Apocalypse. So that could have been
which we know, but they don't really tell us that.
I know.
In the movie.
Yeah,
that's a problem. I agree with that.
So here's, and I know JD, you're going to probably disagree with this.
That's why I'm here.
Here's the biggest issue, and seeing this with Karen, who is not a fanboy of any of this stuff, has not seen. I think she's seen Man of Steel and like Justice League. Was so confused, and I think one of the things that would have served the audience better, like a more general audience better, is if this was Shazam 2 and they brought him back as a foil to Shazam. And I know that's not the character anymore, but it would have been less confusing, because the first thing that Karen said to me was, why is he saying the other guy's catchphrase? Isn't Shazam the guy in the red suit?
Right. She's right. And he's got the exact, it was weird that is never addressed. And I agree with that.
And well, it's the same wizard.
Wait.
You know, it's the same universe. It's the same, same actor playing the wizard.
He doesn't have the same powers. If you listen to them,
no, he doesn't.
When they're giving to him, they're giving him from different
the ancient gods.
Yeah.
Different gods. Yeah. The gods, I believe it was Babel. I think it was supposed to be Egyptian at the time.
Yep.
A bunch of them. Yeah, you're correct. So
Mesopotamian.
Yeah, he gets his powers from a different set of gods. So it's weird.
It's the same idea.
It's totally the same idea. Black Adam is literally, it's like a Marvel villain. He's the dark version of that guy. Like, yeah.
Except he's not.
Ironically enough, he is a Marvel villain. He was Captain Marvel's villain.
I love it.
Nice.
It's true. That I can't disagree. This is a problem with the DC universe. Is like all the criticisms I've heard, they're totally valid. They don't set up the Justice League or the Justice Society. What is their function really? Why does this exist? Like,
why are they answering to Amanda Waller?
Yeah,
that makes no sense.
None whatsoever.
Yeah.
Now I come in with a huge advantage is I love this stuff. I love the source material. So for me, this does what Green Lantern and Man of Steel and Justice League really failed to do. This, as a comic fan, really appealed to me, but I totally understand the criticism.
So
valid.
So I'm counting on you guys, the DC fans, and probably more JD because he's more of a recent DC fan.
And a nut.
Did the Justice Society ever answer to Amanda Waller in the comics?
No, nobody answers to Amanda Waller. That's more of she's kind of a pain in the ass. Like people like she, depending on where we are, she works with the government. And so, it depends on where you're operating.
She's she's the more evil version of Nick Fury.
But she's not a Nick Fury. That's the thing. She did more of the shadow.
They're making her that in the DCE.
Yeah, they're making her that. I don't know why. I think that's because it's easy to do and it's like a crutch.
It's a big crutch.
It's a big crutch, but it can get you where you want to go. And yeah, that's not really from the comic.
But that's everything in this is a crutch. They're reaching on everything.
What do you mean?
I mean, like, well, okay, Justice Society. Justice Society is what came before the Justice League, right?
Yeah, but they've reinvented them just as much as they.
Well, I know, but even after the what is it? The continuity that came out of Rebirth and everything, they were still an older team that inspired the Justice League, right? Now, yes, they've made it so that Hawkman and Dr. Fate have been around, and Dr. Fate's the same guy, right? But it's still like, if these guys have been around for a while, it kind of nullifies like most of the rest of the DC movies. Because if they've been sitting there doing nothing, especially with Dr. Fate's ability to see the future,
you're watching it as a Marvel fan, and you're caring about continuity.
Okay. No, but there's a certain amount of continuity that you can just forgive and forget if it's a great movie. But if you pair that with, like, I think I was rolling my eyes 2 minutes into this movie. The sheer amount of narration in the beginning,
that was annoying.
Like, oh my God!
All right, but I hear you on the continuity thing too, John, because I agree in the sense of, if you're going to bring Amanda Waller in and make her the linchpin to the DCEU, like, then it doesn't make sense that these people are like, nothing makes sense. Now all of a sudden,
even the newer Suicide
you're doing that
Squad
to tie things together, but it's making things like go, wait, what the hell is going on here?
Right, but and that's a problem. Like, yeah, you could say DC is going to make movies that stand on their own, fine, but anybody who's seen more than two of them is going to start asking questions in their head as they're watching it, and that's going to bring them out of the movie. Not to mention all of the freaking slow motion in this, which takes me out of the movie every freaking time.
I think I got a theory on that.
Okay, well, before you get to that, before you get to your theory,
you think what?
My girlfriend actually said to me, she appreciates the slow motion during the fights because sometimes she can't keep up with what's going on. So when they slow down, she's like, "Oh, I can see what's going on."
But if you have to slow down the fight in order for somebody to follow it, then you're fight choreography sucks.
Yeah, that's artistic, man. That's
it's artistic once or twice. Like
no. You establish a pattern. This is what you do throughout. Like this, they said this is how we're going to do this, and they kept true to what the concept was throughout the movie. So
but almost every scene was slow-mo.
But that chose that. That's an intentional thing to do. And again, I do think it's a little bit of a wink and a nod at how Zack Snyder would doing it and poking fun. Like a lot of this movie is poking fun at a lot of the Snyderverse stuff.
Yeah, but
I think that's the point of it, though. Like I think a lot of it is Rock because it's very much in the tone of a Rock movie, right? And it's teasing. I think a lot of it is teasing the Snyder stuff. With how callous and like cavalier he is with a body. Did you kill him? He didn't make it. Like stuff like that.
Yeah,
like,
I know, but that's a Rock move, and it's also kind of funny, right? But
that's the thing is he's interjecting humor that's been missing in the Snyder movies.
But it's not just like
and John, I disagree with you that people aren't going to like it because people are liking it.
All right,
I know. I don't know what to say. I got really sick of like it seemed part of the movie to me seemed like it was put on by a bunch of high schoolers. We've got, at this point we should have all of the villagers run in and say, yeah. And then they'll do this. And then we'll skip to this scene here and we'll do that. And this is going to be slow motion. And that's going to be slow motion. And then almost every other thing they say is a catchphrase. Every single person in this movie is just saying catchphrases.
But they set that up. Like kids, like you have to have a catchphrase. All these guys.
No, I'm not just catchphrases, but everything is a movie phrase that you'd expect that some executive forced them to put into the script or something.
But I think that's part of the fun. I really do think that's part of the fun of it. Is this is supposed to be?
But that's part of the joke.
Okay, but for me, that's not. For me, that's not fun.
It didn't work. For you. I get that.
So here's a question. I'm posing this to both of you.
Okay.
The movie, to me, one of the things that doesn't work is the quote unquote reveal of who Black Adam really is. I feel like
they changed it.
If they had front loaded the movie with that whole story and then went to modern times, I feel it would have worked better. I feel the only reason they broke it up the way they did is they wanted you to be shocked that it was the father and not the son. But
we know the son died because they showed it in the beginning. So it's like,
no, they didn't show it in the beginning, but you knew The Rock was the father in the beginning.
I didn't know that. I didn't.
He talked. You heard his voice.
I mean, like that. I mean, they used it all the time though in movies. They used dad's voice for the son. You know, and the son grows up to be the dad. Like that didn't. I didn't pick up on that at all.
Oh, I knew right away. I'm like, that's The Rock's the father.
Up on it too.
I just figured they had him playing his father because that was literally Mario Puzo's suggestion for the Superman movie. Was that whoever cast to play Superman should also play Jor-El, so you don't have to wait 45 minutes to get Superman in the movie.
Oh,
they didn't do that. They went with Marlon Brando instead. But that's not terribly uncommon. I didn't see it coming, so I saw
it coming.
I did,
and even Karen saw it coming, so I was like, okay.
I didn't see it coming. Like I said, I typically go to movies and just let myself get carried away and don't think about stuff like that until my second time around. What I liked about it is one thing that always bothered me about the initial Black Adam mythos was that the gods chose Billy, a child, but then they chose Adam, a man.
But they didn't. They chose his son, and he killed or his nephew. I think he's
no. But they chose Adam. In the comics, Adam is chosen.
Yeah.
There's a new
continuity
though, where he killed his son to get
the original continuity. I'm just playing.
Yeah.
The original continuity,
okay.
And like. This is so it's always been a thing. I like that they showed the original because the gods chose a child to be their avatar. And it made sense to me this time around that they chose a child again. But I'm like, well, that's not the story though. But when you get to the end of it, you find it is the story. And then it would have made more sense to me. Like that, how did they choose so poorly? Right. But they didn't. But I mean, it made sense because we've seen Shazam give his powers to his family. So we you embrace the same methodology that you've established already. And the son, like Teth Adams' son, I forget what his name was, gave his powers to his father.
But in the others, they shared the powers and he gave the powers, which we haven't seen before.
No, but you have that ability. He could have given, he gave it to his father to save him. That's very selfless. That's very much what a hero would do. And I think, like, as a dad, to have to live, like, not being able to live up to the shadow of my son, I think there's a lot of cool stuff to say in that. Like, I actually really liked that adjustment. I think it's better than the black, especially because you don't want to make this black. You want this Black Adam to be an anti-hero. You don't want him to be a villain.
I'm not going to argue that the bones of this aren't good. Like, you're right about that. You know, I'm just saying that the it
didn't work for
me. And again, I seriously can't fathom how this has an 80% Rotten Tomatoes score. 90, because again, every time Cyclone's on, she's doing a hair commercial. She's just what?
She looked great doing it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I actually said that I love that touch. Every time she was doing it, and then when she was done, her hair was messed up. Of course, it's going to be messed up. Like,
I loved it. That was awesome.
That was the gag, and it makes sense.
So I'll say this too: is I thought this movie had significantly better art direction and style than just about anything Marvel has done. Like, Marvel stuff feels very cookie cutter sometimes, where the art direction and the cinematography oftentimes get lost to the minutia of story and the minutia of the beat of the progression beats of the story. We don't get a lot of artistic camera work. We don't get a lot of, artistic style editing. Like, I thought this movie did a lot more, because again, Marvel movies, are color grading is very flat, it's very plain. Like, I thought I think there's elements of this that are done better than
Multiverse of Madness was pretty good.
Multiverse of Madness sticks out.
It's Sam Raimi.
Yeah. It's also Sam Raimi, but I mean, we hear about how Marvel cuts costs on a lot of this stuff, and you can see it. Like, I think this movie looks really good, and I agree. The Lord of the Rings style info dump. If there's one thing that Lord of the Rings has given film, it's this long ass boring info dump that we have to suffer through for so many movies. And I hate it,
don't tell, right?
Yeah, they could have played that off better, but because Lord of the Rings became a phenomenon, it's acceptable now.
And I don't even think they needed it.
It's not a good thing.
They didn't
either. No, they could have just got the story moving right away.
Yeah. Like, if they just started with them digging, that's all you needed. Like,
I agree.
All you need to know is they were trying to dig up an element, and then show them making the crown with it. That's it.
I agree, 100%.
Because then once we're in modern times, and what's the woman's name in the movie?
Adriana Tomas.
Sarah Shahi, because that's all.
She's a comic. She becomes Isis in the comics.
Once Adriana starts talking about the crown, you know what? That's it. That's all the information you need. You don't need any of it explained beforehand.
That's studio interference. I agree with that.
I knew that had to. I mean, it felt like that to me too. That there was studio interference in that.
Who made Lord of the Rings?
Yeah,
New Line Cinema. New Line Cinema. Who made this? New Line Cinema. Like, this is what we do.
It just felt like, again, it felt like a high school production where it's then this, and then all the villagers.
I teach high school. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not a high school production.
I know, but it's still like.
But it makes sense though. Why would
they just? It felt like the plot was on a forced march from halfway to the end. And it's like, all these, wouldn't it be a great shot if all these people just turn the corner and go, we're going to fight these skeletons. The skeletons did absolutely nothing except stand there until people hit them. I will say
little
boys were walking up and hitting them with their canes.
This is supposed to be a guy raising the army of hell to take over the earth, and people can just beat them with a stick and kill them.
I know.
The Harryhausen skeletons were the same way. They got their asses kicked too.
But then there was no threat.
There was.
You know what I'm saying?
The threat is the demon guy. Those are
you
like
mean the sky beam, right?
The sky. Oh man, they did bring a sky beam back. I was not happy with that.
Yeah,
I did like the Rock ripping him in half.
That was okay.
That was cool when the Rock grabbed him by the horns and literally split him in twain.
You mean by the CGI?
Like, all right, who cares? I can accept it.
Just another CGI bad guy who shows up at the end. You have you don't give a damn about him. You have no idea about him. He just shows up and he's the big baddie.
Here's a criticism I have about the movie, and a couple critics have said this, and I kind of agree with this. It is the formula again. Marvel's done it a couple times. DC's done it quite a few. DC just did it with Batman v Superman
6 years ago. It's not just doing it.
But you know what I'm saying. these, or how about Godzilla versus King Kong? These powerhouses fight and fight, and then they have to team up at the end to take on the external big bad to save the day. You know, and then it's a trope, and then they become heroes.
But there's we speak of tropes so negatively. Tropes are tropes for a reason. They work.
Well, when they're done okay, but not when they're just strung together like an executive saying, I like these tropes. Here's the checklist.
I disagree with that, because that is literally the relationship with Black Adam and the Justice League. Black Adam is a character who doesn't see things like the Justice Society does. So there is that.
That I'm not talking about that. I'm just
that's the movie we're reviewing.
What I'm getting at is that there literally is no reason for them to attack Black Adam, not the soldiers, the Justice Society in the beginning. Like,
gosh, Dave, there's no reason for a bunch of Americans to invade a foreign country with a perceived threat menace. You're right. No. That is a crazy idea that would never happen in real life. The American government would never do anything like that.
and impose their morality on that
over someone else's country. Oh my God. Fiction, you say. Most realistic part of the movie.
What kind of fantasy land you live in, Dave?
Can I?
No, please.
Can I get serious here for a second?
No.
Forget countries, okay? Because I think that's to try to make this a trope about politics is stupid. Because I agree with you. What I'm saying
that wasn't the movie we just watched.
Yeah, I know.
That was a major theme of the movie.
But these, okay.
But
here's the thing. Hold on, listen.
It's an enduring freedom parable.
Listen, that's the whole point. Is that and Hawkman keeps making the point about being the good guys, the heroes. Heroes don't kill. Blah blah. You're what you think of a typical superhero.
You mean hammering that into the Earth's core, right? Because that's what he did. He just every other word out of his mouth was, "Oh, morale."
That's Hawkman, though.
Yeah, that's Hawkman.
But that is Hawkman.
But they came ready to fight him instead of trying to talk to him, and yet at the same time, they made Black Adam out to be, in a sense, reasonable. Yes, he killed people, but he was only attacking people that attacked him. He didn't attack anyone for no reason.
Dave, can I introduce you to Frankenstein? It's Frankenstein. That's literally the story of Frankenstein. He does nothing. People know that he's this monster. They come after him and assume that he's a problem. This has been. I mean, if you have an issue with the trope, take it up with Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley.
Besides, they had Amanda Waller in it. What'd she do when she saw Superman? Oh, I'm going to put together the Suicide Squad.
That's what she does. Yeah. So that actually works. Like Amanda Waller because she sees
everything as a threat.
And Adam was a threat act to what they're trying to do. Is like, and the people say, they're like, you have no problem with intergang ruling us, but now there's a destabilization in the region. Now it's a problem.
Again, like one of the good bones of this movie
that could have been worked for me. Yeah. Like, and I thought that was, again, it's hard to apply smart tropes to a dumb movie. And this is a dumb movie. Don't get me wrong. And that's part of the fun of it. But it's one of the few things, like, I was talking to my brother about it. I said, it's like relating geopolitics to 12-year-olds, right? And it's kind of what they try to do here. And then, man, it's like, and the thing was like, it's kind of like a comic book, right? Because I mean, it's like dime store morality, but that's what you get from these kind of things.
Yeah, I don't feel like they would have just gone in and started fighting with.
I 100% do. I think it's the most realistic thing in this movie is the fact that the American government would have seen a superpowered brown person and said, "No, that has to be eliminated immediately."
I don't think
I agree.
I don't think those heroes would have gone in and just started attacking.
If you accept, the Carter Hall character is always been so like. I'm going to get a little political for a second because this is like Denny O'Neil did this in the 70s. Like when he was writing the Justice League, the satellite era Justice League specifically, he's always written Green Arrow as this, uber lefty. Positives and positives and negatives. Like again, I think Denny O'Neil did a really good job applying the negative side to the limousine left to Oliver Queen. Right. So there's a lot of those things. The opposite side of the Carter Hall was the conservative side of that. So you had this adversarial relationship between Hawkman and Green Arrow in that run of Justice League. So I think they chose the right character to be. He's not a flag waving American, but he's essentially a flag waving American. Of being
He's completely intractable too. He's just
this is like he seems, and they call him on it. You see things very black and white. It's very much you are the bad guy, I am the good guy, and doesn't really see past his own foibles, or possibly like he knows Waller is questionable, but she's on my side, so I don't question. Which again, that's not. We know people like that.
Yeah.
Like that's very much. I find that to be one of Carter Hall's more relatable aspects, because we all know that kind of guy. We all got that kind of uncle, right? And he's a good character. And I get that he actually has a character arc where he's one of the few people in this movie that actually has a character arc where he grows and learns and changes. And like, I think that is very much the way the world would have handled it. What I think is a problem is we don't establish exactly what the function of the Justice Society is. I think that's an issue. It just kind of is.
Yeah.
You know, and again, for me, I come in with the baggage, so I'm okay and I'm in. But I think for the layman, I could see Karen being like, I don't think Michelle's gonna like it. But for me, this worked for me in ways that Green Lantern didn't, surprisingly. But I get it. I'm not going to say any criticism of this movie is not valid. At the end of the day, I just enjoy seeing Dwayne Johnson do Dwayne Johnson stuff, and they adapted one of my favorite comic book storylines. So for me, it hit on all cylinders. But I'm not going to critique. I'm not going to fight anyone's critique of this thing. I understand that completely.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm still.
It's not a perfect movie. It could have been better. I'm not going to argue that.
Well, here's one thing for you. At the end,
yes,
Black Adam says, "Okay, I'm going to give him my powers." So they take him all the way to this underground, and put him in there.
Ending,
the only reason they did that was they could get a cameo with Amelia Hardcore. That was it.
Oh, I disagree with that. I think it's the idea of you set like when you're going through the hero's journey storytelling, you need that final obstacle to overcome, and this is like his final obstacle to overcome.
But it put the brakes on the whole thing.
It really did.
So that it's funny because when the Justice Society is flying away from the prison, Karen turns to me and goes, "So that's it?" I'm like,
that's what I thought too. I'm like, damn, this is a short movie.
And I looked at it and I'm like, of course it's not. Keep watching, because as somebody who's a fan of this stuff, well, Dr. Fate kept seeing flashes of like Hawkman dying and all this stuff.
And Chekhov's gun, you know.
Yeah, so something else is coming. Like it was they already told us something more is coming. Just wait.
So I think that's the moment. That's the Rock. That's Black Adam's like babyface turn. That's his moment of, trying to become a better person, trying to do the right thing, but being right the whole time. Like again, Dwayne has zero interest in playing the villain.
Right.
So you're not going to get.
And then
as he escapes an underwater prison that's deep enough where he should have been crushed as soon as he hit the water, in freezing cold water, because it's in the Antarctic.
He's a 5,000-year-old demigod.
He wasn't at the time.
He wasn't at that point. I agree with John.
It's a comic book movie.
I agree with John.
Physics doesn't matter.
I have an issue with that scene. The scene would have been better if while he's trying to fight them off, they start beating him. Then somehow the mask comes off. He says Shazam, beats them, and then flies out.
I don't disagree with that. It would have been better. They wanted that moment where he's dead. And like his son inspires him to go on. Cliche.
They could have done that when they were beating on him.
They could have.
It's just one little touch they didn't need to make. It's another mistake they didn't have to make.
That's not a mistake. It's a choice.
But
it's a choice.
Yeah, and it's a choice.
Hubris.
Like you guys just said,
it's total hubris.
The movie halted right there, and everyone's like, "What the hell is going on here?" You could feel it in the theater. People were confused.
My theater I saw it like 10:30 at night, so it was like 10 people in theater. So I can't say that. I'll say that I didn't like the choice, but I understand that it is a choice. I don't think it's hubris. It's you're trying to set obstacles for your characters to overcome, your heroes specifically, and you want them to overcome. They will overcome stuff in the face of sheer defeat. I get it. Was it clunky? Yes, absolutely. But my issue is your selective use of physics.
But you have to set up a scene where somebody can follow it and nothing takes you out of that moment, because you want that moment to hit. And they were trying to get a moment to hit. And they set it up with, oh, he's just human now, but he just dived into, 10,000 feet of water and it would have taken him like 10 minutes to get up in freezing cold water. He should have been dead halfway.
He should be dead 5,000 years ago. It's fiction. Like every version of fiction. Unless you're talking like Dogma 95 rules. No, I'm not. This is fiction.
Again, you're comparing two different things.
How do you kill a vampire? Doesn't matter. There's no such thing as vampires.
Well, yeah, but you got to have some rules, because if there's no rules, then there's nothing to invest yourself in, because nothing matters.
Okay, 90% of people disagree with your assessment, John. Like, it's bothering you specifically. Like, it doesn't matter. Physics in these movies where people literally break the rules of physics every single scene.
I don't care about the physics.
When they're super, but not when they're human.
I care about
to begin with.
I care about he gave up his powers and he beat the crap out of all those guards. Like, that's the part that bugs me. Like, he's just a regular guy, and there's guys with batons and trained soldiers beating the crap out of him, and he's not super strong anymore. He's not even rock strong anymore. They CGI'd him with a regular body, you know.
He got it. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with that. It's a little bit much, but again, it's just my son trying to save the day, you know, and it's mothers have ripped off car doors.
Yeah, but they haven't dived, 10,000 feet below sea level and, in negative 20-degree water, right? I mean, like, again, if you don't have rules, then nothing matters, and you can't really and you can't really invest yourself in it. Yeah, I know 90% of the people like this movie. It's a popcorn movie. Maybe it's just me, I guess. But again, I need something where, yes, if you want me to get tense and care about a scene, I have to know that there are rules that won't be broken and that there's real jeopardy. And in this case, there's no jeopardy. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters.
They want that. Did they want you to get tense? Did they want you to get super invested in the scene? Or
I wasn't. As soon as he hit the water, he's swimming up. I'm like, what the hell? I give up.
What was the point? What was the intention? What are they looking to do?
Yeah, I could. That's the problem. I could see the intention that they had.
Are they trying? What were they? No, I don't think they are. I think they just want you to have fun at a movie and not think about it. I don't think they're looking for that. I think that's literally the idea. Like I said, you as a creator, you set the rules. You set the rules, and they're what you set them to.
But there are no rules. That's the problem. You didn't set any rules. There are no rules. If he can do that when he's not Shazammed, what's the point?
What's the point of watching Bruce Willis walk up on glass in Die Hard? You can't do that either. But the movie says you can. It's fiction. It's fiction, man. You can do anything you want to as long as you stay consistent. I think
he was bleeding the whole time. They found him from the blood trails. Like, there were rules. I mean, he was a little bit tougher than most, but he paid a price.
Because you like the movie. That's what it comes down to. Is where if the movie doesn't create the investment from you, it doesn't create the investment from you, and then the things bother you. If you don't care about those sort of things, or if you don't care that, okay, yes, would the force of the water have crushed him? Absolutely. Could they even possibly have that underground prison or that underwater prison? No, that couldn't exist either.
But the thing is, they didn't need to make you make that logical jump. They could have just, like Dave said, had them beating on him, and the thing gets knocked off his face.
Yeah, it would have been
Shazam, and then he flies out. No problem.
No,
you're still invested. They get everything they want, and there's nobody like me questioning it.
I don't think they care if someone like you was questioning it, because if the idea is, if you're questioning that stuff, they don't have you, right? The hook is baited. If you haven't bitten already, you're not going to bite.
All right.
Nah.
Let's get to the crux of the movie, the scene that everyone went to see this movie for. That's the after credits scene.
They're mad that leaked.
Yeah.
You believe them? Or do you think that's a work?
I think that's a work.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right, so hold on. So, guys, we had talked about, there was a rumor that Henry Cavill was coming back as Superman. And on social media, we had Drew C. say, I want them to wipe the board. All new actors. Cavill can play Superman again down the line in Kingdom Come. Doesn't need anything from before. You can bring back everyone and replace the problem with CGI that doesn't speak. Okay. And Shadow Walker said, no, him and the person before him as Superman were terrible, and both should never be allowed to play Superman, and Cavill should never act again in any movie.
Oh my God.
Sorry, guys.
It wasn't Cavill's fault. It was all Snyder, man.
Cavill is back as Superman. So obvious. Okay. So they team up, they beat the demon, he cuts him in half. We talked about this. He's sitting in the semi-destroyed castle, is that or temple or whatever they called it. Amanda Waller's drone shows up, tells him he's never allowed to leave Qatar. He's
Kondak.
Yeah.
Qatar's a real place.
Oh, I'm sorry. He's not allowed to leave Kondak. That's his prison, since he won't stay in her prison, which I thought was so stupid. But anyway, because my issue there was they freed him because they knew he was the only one who could defeat the demon.
That's just her being bitchy.
So he destroys the thing, and right after that, you hear sonic boom. You see a cape character descend, and you hear dun 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 playing in the background.
It wasn't quite the John Williams, but it was like an ode to John Williams.
I heard dun 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 dun,
but it was like slower, because that's what you do now in trailers. Like you play stuff really slow with an echo. So,
yeah, but it was the same melody. It was. And did you notice he's got a curly Q
got a
too?
Got a spit curl.
Like they went, all right, and he goes, we need to talk. They went, a lot of people seem to like Cavill as Superman, and Litz loves Christopher Reeve and the
theme,
the original Superman movies. Let's mash them together and bring Superman back. I really felt like that's the approach they went with.
Dwayne wanted that.
Yes, and did you hear that Hamada?
Walter Hamada did not.
He did not. He went above him to the people of Discovery, and they greenlit it,
which was pretty much probably the end of Walter Hamada's time.
Which is why he quietly left the company when this movie came out.
He got big dog by The Rock,
because what The Rock wants, The Rock gets. That's what you said last week.
Excuse me. Yeah, biggest star in the world, and the biggest star in the world gets what the biggest star in the world wants.
So John, what did you think of Henry Cavill's return as Superman?
Well, the fact that he's now taking orders from Waller. I mean,
we don't know that.
Okay, so here's my thing. That has become out as one of the biggest controversies, because Superman shows up right after that drone, so everyone's assuming he's working for Waller. I'm like, no, it's, to me, I think, why can't it be a coincidence that he showed up right at that point?
Because she said because she said she'll find somebody from another planet to take him out.
She could have met Martian Manhunter. She could have met so many other aliens. She could have met Supergirl. She could have met Power Girl. She could have met.
The way they played the rest of the movie, there's no way the writers would make it that.
I'm going to give you 2 reasons. I'm going to give 100%.
There's no way.
I think it's an intentional. It's an open question, so we can have. It's
done on purpose. Yeah,
it's done on purpose. What color was Superman's eyes? Was he in shadow or was he bright and shiny?
The yellow on his chest was very vibrant.
Very vibrant. So was the blue.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So was the blue. Superman literally came to talk.
Yeah.
Superman came to talk. I don't think he's there to fight, because his eyes weren't glowing red, and that's what you do. That is the universally accepted symbol of pissed off Superman.
True.
Yes. Yes, he literally did come to talk.
Pissed off Superman or normal Homelander.
Or normal Homelander is just super. I think that Superman literally comes to have a because that's what Superman would do. Because Superman is not Carter Hall. Superman does not go in guns blazing. Right? That is not what Superman would do.
Right.
So I firmly believe that Superman, they literally just brought him in to think, oh, they're going to fight. And at the same time, it's going to be Superman's like, hey, why? Let's just hash it out before we blow up the planet fighting each other, which could happen.
Yeah.
But I don't foresee that as being the reason for that. I think that this was an intentional nod to a more true to life version of Superman, and it's coded. It's not like they came out and said it. You have to read it. And the fact that you're having the debates means it worked, in my opinion, because some people do think he's working for Waller. Not necessarily.
No, and I think that's why they did the spit curl and the John Williams theme to say, and this is not the Snyder Superman who was going to go in fist flying
and break necks. No, he was shiny, right? He was shiny. Like he was a knight in shining armor again. And I looked at that and I smiled. You guys know me when I get off on Superman. I looked at this and I'm like, there he is. That's Superman.
And
I was very happy. I mean, I feel very good about that.
Again, the writers, there's no way they would have written it subtle where, they mean that he was just coincidence that he came in. They wrote it that Waller sent him in.
No, I don't think so. I don't think they did. I think they wrote it as you can interpret that as Waller.
You are giving this so many passes.
because I don't think it is. I mean, Superman just kind of comes in. She could say, Superman, I want you to talk to him. He could just go there and say, yeah, I'll
she
do it,
literally
just try and-
said, he literally said, there's nobody on this planet. And she
could
said,
just
oh,
say-
well, I'll find somebody from another planet. And then Superman's there. I mean, how is that too much? That's too much of a coincidence.
That means you
the
fell
writers
for
have
what the
beaten
writers
us-
were setting up.
But the writers have been beating us over the head with everything else in the script. Why would they just suddenly turn about face and
Superman doesn't
have this
work with,
that
because
subtle?
Superman doesn't work with Waller. He never has.
Well,
The Justice
yeah,
League does not work with Waller.
Yeah, the Justice Society doesn't work with
does.
Waller. Oh, wait a
Justice Society in this world, they have. When have they worked with Waller in this universe? They don't. The whole point, she wanted Superman killed, right? They wanted Superman to die, and she's not. Like, right? This is like, no. I did not foresee this as a fight at all. I think this is foreshadowing an intentional move to, again, this wasn't put
I don't
together
think
by
it was a fight either.
This wasn't
Waller
put
sent
together
him.
by, no, I don't think so, by the writers. This is the introduction of the new take on Superman. That's what this is. Henry Cavill is back as Superman, and he's the Superman that you really want.
All right. So I think we need to talk about what this movie and that him coming back as Superman does mean for the future of
That's a great question.
the DC movies. Because, all right,
It means
Because-
once Ezra Miller creates the Flashpoint, they can get rid of whoever they want, including Ezra Miller, and keep only the good ones, just like any DC reboot.
I was going to say that's
It's
very
just like-
DC. What's the crisis? We've got our own crisis.
Yeah.
We keep the stuff we like. We get rid of this stuff. Like I've said, the salad bar. I've calling it that for years. You go to the salad bar. You know, I don't like the radishes. I'm going to leave the radishes. I'm going to get myself some of the cinnamon buns, and
Yep.
you know, I'll come back for the ice cream later. Maybe I'll get a salad. You know.
so right, but I kind of feel like what they're setting up here. I'm assuming the movie's going to be a success. What was the budget?
Great question. I'll go look it up.
I think they're sending this like this. If this movie is a success, they can go forward, in a million different ways.
Whew. 195.
All right, so we won't know until they make their money back. Until
That's a lot of money.
that is a lot of money. Has it opened in China yet?
Well,
I don't know.
they used a lot of CGI on that.
Is it even
fake
allowed
enemy
to
at
open
the
in
end,
China?
so-
They don't like movies that have to pick like devils and stuff in the.
They do not. But we've
Which
done
is one of the reasons that they've claimed Mephisto wasn't in.
maybe Marvel's never verified that. I don't think it's open in China yet. Doesn't say.
So,
Doesn't say.
so we'll see when it.
I'm not sure where we're at right now. I wonder see if there's anything recent update. Black Adam.
Well, they're still counting the receipts for tonight.
They are.
This
I
is
was thinking-
it's Sunday night right now, so
It is Sunday night.
it's probably still playing right now.
It is, but they usually get decent estimates by this point of what something will finish. Usually by Sunday night. I just see the 140 from right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see
I
any
imagine
updates
tomorrow. I
on that.
imagine tomorrow we'll know.
Yeah. Because if they don't make their money back, none of this matters. right?
Well, like you
will.
guys keep saying, it's 90% Rotten Tomatoes, so they'll probably make their money back.
They'll make their money back. The question is how much of a profit.
is this
well,
going to be
you-
is this going to
you-
be a movie that gains steam because of word of mouth?
Well, you'll want to check that, right? Because right now, I mean, again, these are only very preliminary numbers for this weekend, but the percentage from Friday to Saturday was negative 11%.
That's not good.
And-
I'm sure it's the negative reviews hurt that a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it says negative 30 for Sunday, but again, they haven't finished counting the receipts for tonight, so that doesn't mean anything right now.
I do think this might be a movie that picks up steam with word of mouth because I do think that 90% is true on Rotten Tomatoes for the audience score. So
I don't understand that. But
this movie wasn't for you.
Yeah,
Just like
okay.
Sandman isn't for me.
all I'm asking is for, like, just get rid of the narration for goddamn once, and
I agree with
give
that.
me something that makes the stakes matter. Because if there's
And that
no
felt like a Jeff
rules, then the
Johns move.
stakes there's no stakes.
Because that's how Green Lantern starts. There's a bunch of
The
narration.
info dump, yeah, that felt very Johnsy. I agree
Yeah.
with
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, because well, we don't know what's going to go on with that Flash movie, but
Hell, we don't even know if it's ever going to come that. I mean,
Like,
all it's
The
going to
Rock-
take is Ezra Miller and another couple of arrests, and
The Rock fought for this because The Rock also wants to do a Superman Black
that.
Adam,
Black Adam movie. That's what he
movie where
wants.
they fight, which makes no sense after watching Black Adam, but we'll see. And then, but that's the whole thing. Like
Wow,
he
get-
championed this.
Get
What?
this. I was reading this right now. I'm on Box Office Mojo. this is the first time the box office itself, like the box office, not the one movie, but in general, has gone over 100 million for the weekend for the first time since July. So there's a huge, I don't think we can really grade movie box offices the way we did pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
Right? I think we might be different, which should make people reconsider how much they spend on these movies, quite frankly.
True.
But it's the first time since July the box office itself has been over 100 million. And that's in the US, not internationally. But wow, that's terrible.
It also should make them reconsider the idea of wanting to make all the movie money in the first weekend and want to try to go back to the model where movies can breathe a little bit.
And I think we're there. I think that this is changing a little bit. Again, I think the pandemic's kind of forced some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But I do think you're right. I do think that maybe it's changing a little bit, because last weekend with the Halloween movie that came out, it was only $76 million for the total box office.
Yeah, but I heard it's really bad.
It's terrible. But I'm just saying the weekend box office in general, like that movie had some positive buzz going into it. Like not good.
Michael Myers isn't even the killer.
No, that is a conversation for a different show. Halloween Kills or Halloween Ends is awful. It's absolutely awful. So, but that is neither here nor there for this week. I'm just saying the box office is not in good shape for what guys like us that have been following this for a long time would consider healthy. We might have to accept that we're in a new normal.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe things have to take time to make the money,
Yes. I do think people should go check out the pitch meeting episode for Halloween Ends.
I saw that.
Yeah. Anyway, but regardless of that, like The Rock fought for this. But if no one else at DC is fighting for it and he drops the ball, is it just going to go away? Like it's just going to be a weird artifact. Oh yeah, he showed up at the end of the movie and that was it. That's the last time we saw Cavill. The rumor is he signed like a 2-picture deal or something though.
I heard that he only signed for this one thing so far.
That's why we don't know. I mean, like it's all rumors of right now. I would not think because Henry Cavill is so close to this particular character. Because he had said for a while, I'm done. I don't think he would do this unless the idea was he was back.
Right. You're right. I don't think he would have just signed on just to do a cameo.
Because he loves Superman.
Yeah.
He wants to be Superman again. And I think I'm speculating. I think if he came back, he said, I want to be Superman again. Because this is the exact same ending they did in Shazam, right? Shazam being the mirror image of Black Adam.
Yeah.
In Shazam, they play it off as a joke. And it's clearly not Henry Cavill. But this time around, it's a little bit more serious and it's clearly Henry Cavill.
Yes.
So I think he's back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the rumors were they couldn't get him. He wanted to do the cameo, but they couldn't get him for some reason, which means they didn't want to pay him to do it. In my mind, that's what it really.
Walter Hamada didn't want it, and that said that I think this is probably a matter of Rock wanted it from jump. Hamada's like, no, we're not going to do that. And they probably said, can you get Henry? You want to come? Dwayne wants. He goes, yeah, I want this. No, we can't. We'll offer you this, like lowballed him. And he probably said, no, it's not worth my time to do that. And I want to come back. And they probably said, no, it's just for this movie. And then all of a sudden he's back. I don't think Henry Cavill does this without being back.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean the Snyderverse is back? I think John's right. I think we'll get elements of it. I think, because remember, we all watched Justice League movie and went, well, parts of this thing work, you know? I just don't think we can judge these movies like the Marvel movies. I think it just has to, I've come to the point where like, they're just different,
Agreed. Like they're their own thing. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. I just appreciate
and we're fighting, we're fighting because we want the same kind of continuity, which we're not going to get. Because even if they steer this and start making better movies and they connect them, still don't think we're going to get a strong DC continuity through these.
DC continuity sucks.
There is no continuity.
That's the problem. And when they try to make it contiguous, it doesn't work. Contiguous. I have a hard time with that word. Contiguous. I don't think it works. I don't think it works. I think DC's better off just doing DC stuff, right? And every character in the DC universe just does what they do, and then you can bring some guys together on occasion and let's figure out how to do the goddamn Green Lantern now.
All right. What did you think of, I had no idea he was in the movie, the surprise Henry Winkler cameo?
I loved it. As the Jewish superhero having Henry Winkler play Atom Smasher, I just went, Mamma Mia, that's freaking fantastic.
Again, another one of the good bones of this movie, right?
Yeah.
That
Like,
was
yeah,
cool.
I loved it. I love Henry Winkler, man. I can't, sometimes I'm astounded that guy was the Fonz,
Yeah.
because I didn't grow up with Happy Days. So I loved it. I like the kid that played Adam Smasher too. I think he was all right.
Yeah,
It's
both the kids were good in this movie, but
But they
I
were
also don't
just
feel
they
like
were
they were given
backgrounds.
They
they weren't given a
of it.
lot to do.
No,
Right.
they aren't given a lot to do. That's fine. I mean, like, there's a lot going on in the movie, so whatever. You can have background characters.
The heavy lifting was the female lead,
The
Dr.
Rock,
Fate, and
Dr. Fate.
Hawkman.
Yeah, which is fine. I'm okay with it. You can have
You mean
background
Sarah Adriana, right?
Yeah,
Adriana, yes.
And the
And
kid.
she dies in the comics. I was shocked that she survived this. I was shocked she wasn't turned into a superhero, and I was shocked she's alive.
Why?
Because they killed her in 52.
Yeah. But didn't they kind of get rid of all 52?
No, the series is called 52. So I mean,
that's
52.
she's the one who dies, right?
Yeah,
she's
that's
the one that they're trying to figure out her
Black
her
Adam
murder.
falls in no. Black Adam falls in love. That's you're getting the stuff confixed. And when they did 52, which was the year 52 originally referred to the year that Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman were away from the DC universe post Infinite Crisis. So they had this weekly series called 52, written by it was 52 weeks. It was written by Greg Rucka, Jeff Johns, Mark Waid, Grant Morrison, and the stories were it was Black Adam, the Elongated Man. I'm not Long Man. Black Adam, Booster Gold, Batwoman, and Question. Montoya becoming the Question. Those are the stories that it revolved. And Grant Morrison wrote Animal Man and Starfire and somebody else that were stuck in space. So that was this interlocking story. And Jeff Johns did the Black Adam story. And he falls in love with Adriana Tomas, and he starts becoming like the leader of Kahndaq, and things are great. And she becomes Isis, the female, and then she dies, and Black Adam kills everybody.
Kind of like he did in this movie.
No, unhappy. Like she dies, and he becomes like he goes from becoming the hero to the. It's really like that becomes a fall from grace story.
They used the number 52 way too many times.
They do, but this is where it came from. That series 52, and the very end of it, Mr. Mind is eaten away at the DC shit, man. He's eaten away at reality, and now there's 52 universes. So that was the big reveal at the end.
Then what's the one where like everyone loses a year of their memory? 52.
No, that was more recent. 52 is just like they skipped a year. Like the publishing, like after Infinite Crisis, it was 1 year later. Like they started, like in 2006, they started the publishing. It was 1 year. It was Batman's comeback, Superman's comeback. Like they came back. Bart Allen becomes the Flash, and the lost year was what happened when these heroes were trying to recover from Infinite Crisis.
Okay,
there's actually some good comic stuff. When you explain it to normal people, you sound crazy.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've probably beaten this movie to death.
I would hope.
Go around
much like Black Adam. Beating people.
Let's go around the room, give final thoughts and a score from 1 to 10. John, you can go first.
I'm literally not going to think about this movie anymore. Like I wouldn't even sit down and watch this if it just happened to be on.
Wow.
I really like, maybe it's because I'm OCD and all that, and all the little things that they did wrong just like blow up in my mind. But I just, again, I just, between the narration and the slow motion, all the constant slow motion, trying to force you to care about a scene, try to, make it seem like, oh, this is epic. Isn't this epic? Look at this. This is epic. And it, just screaming at me like, shut up.
It's like the slow motion walking in the Batman.
Yeah. I'm like, it's just, and then again, another a sky beam, another CGI bad guy. It's like, come on, you just wasted, you don't waste the Rock, you use every part of the Rock when you get the Rock, and you've wasted him for the most part. There are still little pieces in here that actually made me smile and laugh, but it's only because of the Rock. That's it. So yeah, there's just too many issues with this for me. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm giving it a 5.5.
Okay.
5.5 bodies. Let's put it that way. Charbroiled to perfection.
JD.
This movie's flawed. It's very flawed. There's a lot of issues with it. But at the end of the day, I found myself smiling. I found myself laughing. I found myself having fun on a Saturday night by myself in the movie theater. Ultimately, when I go to the movies, that's what I care about. Too often, when I've sat down to watch these Marvel series, I find myself not attached to any. I find myself going through the motions and it being feeling like a job that I have to watch these things. Right. And maybe it hits on all the beats that are like supposed to make it good and supposed to make it thoughtful. But at the end of the day, I really feel like a lot of the Marvel stuff has lost me on the heart level. Right. And I've mentioned that many times on the show that I'm feeling detached from the MCU since Spider-Man, really. Doctor Strange I like because it embraced a lot of horror, but like at the end of the day, I haven't watched it back since. I really enjoyed this movie a lot. Despite it's like you offer a piece of pizza, right? It's not good for me. It doesn't taste as good as I think it does. But when I'm there, I'm enjoying it. And that's kind of how I felt about this. So my head says 7.5. My heart says like 8.5. So I'm going to go somewhere in the middle and call it like, I don't know, 7.95 to 8.52, 8.25. Like it's somewhere in there. Like
divide it by pi.
Go with your heart.
Like, no, but it's like I know that there's flaws in it. I can point them out. I'm like, well, I don't like the narration. I thought the third act had some major issues. I thought they waited way too long to introduce Sabak. I think that there's big time issues with this movie. But at the same time, I found myself really enjoying it. At the end of the day, isn't that all that matters? Is did I have fun? I did. So it's like Commando, right? Commando's stupid as hell, but damn if I don't enjoy watching it, And I mean, it's not RoboCop. RoboCop's a smart, fun movie. Commando is a dumb, fun movie. And this is kind of what I felt about this. So like, I'll just say an 8, but I'm like a soft 8.
Okay. I hear what both of you are saying. It's funny. I kind of feel like this movie, we're going to look back on it either fondly or horribly, depending on what comes next, what comes out of this. I kind of feel like if we get a great Superman movie with Henry Cavill out of this, we're going to be like, oh, Black Adam's awesome because it brought a good Superman movie out of it.
Brainiac is still out there.
Yes, exactly. So that's where I'm kind of lost. And you know what you just said, Sue? Like, they waited too long to introduce Savik.
They did.
Like, I kind of agree with that and the aspect of, like, the whole movie. Black Adam kept saying, like, everyone kept saying, you shouldn't be here. You don't belong here. There's no reason for you to be here. Yet he knew about the crown. He knew the crown was found. Like,
he was the most obvious bad guy ever. I mean, come on.
It's like it took too long to put those pieces together, right? To get for the third act. So it's like, yeah, that's probably the biggest issue of the movie. So but yet I will also say on the other side, this is definitely, I think, the movie The Rock wanted. This is the movie he wanted to make. He enjoyed it. You could tell he was having fun in this movie. The deadpan jokes that he does work. I think you can't fault the other two. Hawkman and Dr. Fate were great. Did a great job in this movie. No one phoned it in. So I will say 7.5.
Fair. I think it's a fair rating.
Yeah. It's not blowing your socks off, but it's really, sorry, John, it's not a terrible movie. It's not a great movie. It's not the worst movie. It has issues.
How I feel about it. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. I mean, I laughed. I like The Rock being casual with human life. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I feel like if you're making a joke out of it, like a Looney Tunes thing, it's okay. If Superman is indiscriminately killing people and being like it's all about tone. Like, it really is all about tone. And I think this movie had the right tone for what it wanted.
True. I also I did like the one touch when he gave up his powers and he wasn't speaking English anymore. Like,
yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, like showing he doesn't have powers anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Well, that's enough Black Adam talk. Let's bring this one home. Let's go around the room and say recommendations, or did you learn something this week from the podcast? And JD, this time you can go first.
Recommendations. By the time you're listening to this, we'll have about 48 hours to go on the Hawk Hallow Kickstarter campaign. Hopefully we're well over $2,000 by the time you guys are listening to this. I want you guys on board. Got a lot of books available. I'm very, very proud of this book. I love it with all my heart. I think it's my first book. It's my first baby. Now it's my first hardcover book. And I'm very proud of how it looks on my shelf. So please jump on board and get yourself some damn fine reading material for your bathroom, because that's where some of the best reading is done. I learned that sometimes smiling and having fun is more important than anything else. Not all the time, but sometimes.
Like when your kid's puking all over the place?
That is not one of those times. That is one of those times that you run away and pretend you didn't see nothing.
But your wife was there and she knew you did. John?
I don't know what I've learned. I'm just I'm still processing the fact that I don't actively hate this movie, but I am just not a fan of it all. And I'm trying to figure out where the disconnect is between you guys and me. But as far as recommendations go, I finally found an anime that I liked. Tensai Shitara Ken Deshita, also known as I Became the Sword by Transmigration, or in English, reincarnated as a sword.
Oh my God.
Japanese.
It's actually
Japanese.
Yes.
It's
actually really good though. It's been done very well. The animation's incredible, and the story is not as stupid as you'd think it is. It's actually pretty neat. So yeah, in a world where there are things like reincarnated with my smartphone and stuff like that, there's so many of these isekais out there. You know, the people that like get hit by truck-kun and become heroes in another world. This is actually a really good one. Like it was a clever idea that's executed well.
All right.
And yes, I can like something like that and not Black Adam.
You don't have to justify liking or not liking something. It is what it is.
But I was thinking that. All right.
Oh wait, sorry. One more thing. I just watched it today. Gifted. It had Chris Evans in it. It's about him and a little girl who's a genius. It's on Amazon Plus. It is really good. Check it out.
It's an older movie.
And it is. I thought, like, I don't know why, but they was advertising it all over the place for some reason. So I figured I'd check it out. And then I find out it was like 2017 or something, back when Chris Evans was dating Jenny Slate, who was also in the movie. But it's actually really, really good. So check that out. Sorry, Dave.
That's all right. Well, first off, I will recommend that you go to superheroespeak.com, where you can find the podcast every week, comic book reviews by our new comic book reviewer, Chris, news and old comic book reviews by our good friend D Square, news and rants from yours truly, and so much more. So make sure you're checking out superheroespeak.com. I learned that we don't always agree on what we like.
Just learned that?
That doesn't happen much, actually, though.
No, I mean, I just find it funny.
weeks.
Like, I'm struggling with watching Sandman, and John loves it, and then John hated this, and I don't want to say.
And I loved Werewolf by Night, and it floors me that JD doesn't. It just So it's kind of weird. Been a weird month.
It's good.
Been a very weird month.
Gives us something to talk about. We had a nice, thorough discussion this week. That's 2 weeks, actually. Yeah.
It's spooky ooky month.
Do 6 more days till Halloween. Halloween. 6 more days till Halloween. Silver Shamrock.
And recommendation. I don't really have a recommendation this week. You know what? I'm going to recommend, if you haven't gone so yet, go back and check out the bonus episode of Batman Superman Battle of the Super Sons. And if you haven't seen the movie yet, it's available now on digital and Blu-ray, wherever you consume your media. So go check it out. And yeah, that's all I got. So on that note, as always, thanks for listening, and don't let your cape get caught in the door. Have a good week.